Welcome back to another episode of Right Here in Mass. Joining me today is Erika Tortorici, the founder and owner of Optimum Insurance Solutions, a Hamilton, Massachusetts-based independent insurance brokerage committed to providing personalized coverage, expert guidance, and unparalleled client service. With over 15 years of experience in the insurance industry, Erika is committed to reshaping the way individuals and businesses approach insurance. Erika, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I don't think I've actually had anyone in the insurance space on the show yet, so this will be very fun to kind of have a new industry to be able to showcase and things like that. So I'd love to start off the show by having you share with our listeners more about yourself and what you do.
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name's Erika Tortorici. I founded Optimum Insurance, which is an independent agency, as Ashley mentioned, in the North Shore of Massachusetts. But we do service all of Massachusetts, New England, and a few other neighboring states. We specialize in personal and commercial insurance, so we can really help the client with all their insurance needs. I worked at a Fortune 100 company for many years, and I just decided there was a little bit of things that I didn't love there. So I wanted to better service the clients and the market, and that's why Optimum was born.
I love that. What was that like to go through that process of kind of breaking out of that Fortune 100 company and being able to start your own agency?
It was a really hard decision because, of course, at those large companies, you get really cushy benefits. We call them joke around and say the golden handcuffs. It's super hard
Yeah.
to leave. I was just at a point in my career where I was noticing that my clients in my book of business, they would be saying, Erika, we love you, but our rates keep going up and up. And I was kind of stuck in a situation where I didn't have a huge carrier platform to offer the clients. And I love my clients and I built such a strong relationship with them. I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to keep them forever. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time. I also was personally wanted to become a mother. So I knew that if I went on maternity leave, had the baby, it was just going to be another hurdle to, break away from the company. So I decided to just do it all at once, and I ended up leaving in August of 2022, and then Optimum was live in October of 23. I mean, 22, sorry. And then I ended up getting pregnant that following January. So everything was a whirlwind. It was being born at once. But it was just a great experience. And I think becoming a mom kind of gave me that extra push and drive. Like, you have to do this and you have to succeed. And it was just super special for me.
Yeah, I love that. And talk about like ripping the Band-Aid off all at once. But I feel like that probably, in a sense, made it easier because it's like if you have obstacles that you might be going through, like you might as well just kind of tackle them all at once and get it over with.
Exactly, exactly. It was definitely a big motivator, and just kept me going and pushing.
Yeah, and I can imagine since then that having your own insurance agency has likely brought such incredible flexibility in your schedule and being able to accommodate being both a business owner and a successful one, plus being a mom as well.
For sure. And what was super important for me was just creating a space and a company that we could hire and give others jobs. Now that I like every morning I wake up at my in my old company, it was more about me and like making that paycheck. Now when I wake up, it's really just about like having that place for people to work and be happy and get their paychecks. Like, that's the pressure that I pulled on myself. It's not about me anymore. It's about my people, and our clients. And it's just like makes it that much more special and rewarding.
Totally. And for anyone listening to this episode who perhaps also might be working for another insurance agency themselves and are thinking about doing something similar to what you did with going off and starting your own thing, what advice would you have for them for making that change?
I would say do it because my only regret is not doing it sooner.
Mm,
Um, Happy to give anyone advice if they want to reach out or if they're thinking about it. But there's so much business to go around that it's so special that you can do it your own way and really get to engage with clients and have that relationship and how you want to do it versus being held to how like maybe another agency owner wants it to be done or another large corporation. So it is just an amazing experience.
totally. And for people who are currently working with an insurance agent, they kind of go through that process of like knowing how to find who is the right fit for them. And that's one thing that you've brought up a few times is just really your dedication and commitment to your clients and being able to provide a really good service for them. So for anyone listening who is perhaps like considering switching insurance agents, could you talk about how someone knows that the agent that they speak to is the right fit for them and what they need?
Yeah, I would just say for us, it's all about education. I mean, at the end of the day, we are selling a product. So people are like, oh, they're just trying to sell us something.
Mhm.
If you get that feeling, then it's probably not a great fit. If you feel that the person's listening to your desires, your needs, and why you might be unhappy currently, also listening to certain characteristics of your home and your situation and really being knowledgeable on the market and where you would find a good fit for your insurance and why it would be a good fit. I think that just takes it to another level. So we're really deep in education and just kind of taking it to that next level and understanding the market and why it would be a good fit for this territory versus that territory, or this type of home has a flat roof and things like little characteristics like that.
Mhm.
It's just super important because it's really not one size fits all. One thing that's good for you is not going to be good for your neighbor.
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like once someone finds an insurance agent, it might be one of those things where they're just like, well, I'll just stay with this person because I've been with them forever. And it might be difficult for them to make a change. But if someone gets to the point where they're like, you know what, I feel like I could get a lot more value working with someone else. What advice
Mhm.
do you have for them for just switching an insurance agent or switching an insurance provider to make it more of like a seamless process?
Yeah, we get that a lot with especially like the age range, I'd say like young adult 25 to maybe 35, because they're always like, oh, I'm just with the same as my family has had, which is
Hmm.
lovely because I love loyalty. So that is a great client. But that agency might not be kind of like on the same wave as you are, and they could be retiring soon, and then you're going to be left to the new owner, they might just leave the industry. So like you kind of want to engage with someone that kind of fits your time length because you want that relationship to last forever, instead of like hopping around to different agencies. It is super seamless because the agency takes on everything when you do make a change from one carrier or an agency to another. They handle cancellations, they handle the refunds, checks coming out. So it is way less scary than it sounds. I know some people are just like, don't like change, and I'm one of those people as well.
Right.
So I totally get that. But it is really simple and it gets taken off of the client's plate and the agent handles everything. And we CC all of our clients. So I'm like, you're going to see emails happening. You don't have to
Mhm.
respond, but I know some people just like control and seeing things are happening in the background. So we always CC when we're like sending out cancellations and stuff, just so they're in the know and they're comfortable that things are happening, and they don't have to worry.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that about the communication piece, about really prioritizing that, because I've always felt that like one of the biggest factors that can lead to being a successful business owner is being a really good communicator. And ultimately, it's that clients just really want to know what you're doing for them and knowing that the work is ultimately getting done. And so I love that you brought that up as something that you've really prioritized and emphasized so that they feel well taken care of, especially during a overwhelming process for them, such as changing from one agent to the next.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so I know you mentioned that. you focus on like both the personal and commercial insurance. And so I'd love to focus on the commercial insurance for
Mhm.
now, knowing that our audience is business owners. Could you give an overview of what commercial insurance really consists of, for anyone who's unfamiliar with it? Like, what is commercial insurance?
Of course. So, commercial insurance is anything that protects the company, the entity, the business, and the business owner and employees. Um, I mean, it can range from your workers' comp, which is there to protect your staff. It can protect your professional liability, which most people don't understand. Like, professional liability covers you if you make an error performing your job. So, for example, in insurance, if you ask me to change your deductible and I forget, and then you're in an accident, and that's on me because I'm a human. Of course, some things could get missed. So, professional liability is going to cover you if you miss something, which is huge. That way, it gives the business owner that peace of mind that they can go out, do what they're doing well, run their business, but no, God forbid, I have a bad day and I miss something, or, you know, forget to respond to an email, you're covered. And then, of course, there's your general liability, which covers the space if someone just slips and fell at your place of work. And then now what's really big is the cyber insurance because there's
Mm,
so many hackers,
yeah.
there's so many scams going out there. I'm like, every time I get the RMV email, I'm like, is this a real
I
thing?
just
Or
got it again yesterday.
crazy, yeah. And some people are just like fast. Oh, I have one of those. I need to pay it, and there it goes. Your info is gone. So, especially as a business owner, when you're taking people's credit cards, personal information, addresses, things like that, you want to make sure you have protection in place to protect your clients and staff. So,
Yeah.
super important.
I'm glad that you brought up cyber insurance because I heard about it a while ago and honestly forgot about it. But you're so right. It's such a prevalent topic right now with all the scams that are going on. And we've all seen like data breaches with Harvard Pilgrim and the big
Yeah,
companies. And I think it's a reminder that it doesn't just happen to the big companies, it can happen to the small mom and pop shops. And so let's talk about that more. Let's talk about cyber insurance and um, what use cases it might be needed for and how business owners can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, the policies aren't super expensive at all. Like you can get one for, I think we quoted someone yesterday with an electrical company and it was $500 for the year,
Oh,
for a
amazing.
million of coverage. So, I mean, if your company gets hacked and your data gets leaked, there's things that you have to do, of course, alerting your client base. If someone's information or credit card gets stolen, you could have to pay back money. This would all be covered in wide range. So it's something that we've been seeing in the last couple years, people being more in tune with. We, of course, mention it to everyone. Do you want to add cyber? Because it's just a huge, like you said, prevalent in the market right now. Like there's a scam every day happening and being alerted to us on the news. So it's just something that I would take it to the next level and just add that extra layer of protection. It's above and beyond like your firewalls on your computer and whatever programs and virus protections that you have with your computer. So it's definitely important to have.
Definitely. And one
Mhm.
thing you mentioned too is workers' comp. And a question that I have, and this also might depend on the business and the industry, but can that only apply to employees or can it apply to 1099s as well? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I feel like there is a big push to a lot of companies bringing in more like freelancers or people who might not necessarily be employees, but rather contractors. So I'd love to hear how that might come into play.
Yep, good question. We come across this all the time. So, workers' comp is directly for your W-2 employees.
Hmm.
They do suggest that the 1099 employees can purchase their own, even with other types of insurance as well, not just the workers' comp, because if they're making an error in their job, they're technically under their own contractor. So they're kind of running their side thing and they're sourced by you to help with a project or a certain piece of the business. So technically insurance would tell you to get your own, have the in 1099s get their own coverages.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for any business owner who's listening to this and they're like, shoot, I don't really have commercial insurance, like, where should they start? Like, how do they know what insurance they need? Like, let's walk through that process of how they could get the ball rolling with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely call everyone usually that handles personal insurance for you would probably handle commercial as well. So
Mhm.
that's a good starting point. If you have your own auto, home insurance, even renters, you can call over to that agency and say, "Hey, I started a business last year and I totally slipped my mind. I need insurance." They'll be able to get something in place for you. Um, as far as what lines that you would need, really depends on the business. Do you have a storefront? Are you working just out of your home? Things like that. Do you need professional liability? Are you in that industry that would need that? Do you have employees? Do you want workers' comp, or are you working with all 1099? So that type of info, it was more particular to the business. But everyone that handles like the personal usually does handle commercial or has a division of the company that can do that.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
And I think the word providers might be the right word here, but there's like so many different insurance providers that exist that I feel like for clients, especially in the commercial space, they might be overwhelmed with all the different options. And so I'd love to hear how a professional like yourself really walks them through the process of presenting them with the best options for their business and kind of breaks down all of the overwhelm really that comes with so much information.
Yeah, definitely. So the way that we decide to work with the carriers are we want to make sure that they're an A-rated carrier, which means basically they're financially sound, they can pay claims, they have good rated service. So that's how I decide personally of who I want Optimum to partner with when we're offering to our clients. Once we engage with a client and we quote them, we kind of run it through a rater system, which comes back with a plethora, like platform of rates. And then we kind of pick, okay, these are the top, the best rating. And then we go in and then we specifically dive in and look at the different coverages and tweak things. And then we'll present it to the client. This carrier
Mhm.
came in best for you. These are the reasons why we really love the carrier. This is what they're offering. And then the client would say, okay, great. I would love to go with that. And then we set up the policy. But we really kind of do the sourcing of the client, the carrier before we engage. So we make sure that we're offering the best to the client.
Yeah, totally. And I can
Mhm.
imagine that the industry likely has so many new developments going on and changes happening, especially as laws change and whatnot. And so I'd love to hear kind of how you stay on top of like trends or new information so that way you're able to continue to provide the great service that you do to your clients.
Yep, definitely. So you're right. It can be overwhelming at times because every carrier has their own things that they like, things that they don't, their own guidelines and rules. We'll take a flat roof. We don't take coastal, it gets crazy. So
Yeah.
it's really about staying on top of the alerts from the carriers. They put out newsletters to the agencies and their partners. So we're really on top of it there. We stay, of course, on top of all the current events and what's happening in this crazy world and disasters coming in or storms, things like that. So it's really just about that continuing education and just being in tune with the carrier and staying on top of it because it does become overwhelming.
Mhm.
Our agency has an internal Google Doc that we release all the important information, things like that, the guidelines. And we also meet every Tuesday, which was earlier this morning, where we kind of go out any new press release. Oh, this carrier is doing this, or this is happening here, so that we're really just top of mind, keeping it fresh for everyone. Um, a big thing that we talked about today was the oil tanks because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if you saw on the news, but a couple in Attleboro had a big oil leak in their home, and it ended up being a $400,000 claim that was denied by their insurance.
It's
So
horrible.
Yes. So we did just send out a blast to our client book and was like, if you have an oil tank in use or not in use, please just reach out and let us know because we just want to do a quick policy review.
Mhm.
It's just an extra safeguard that we're putting in place because, like I said, people miss things or people don't disclose. They thought they had gas heat, but oh no, they have an oil tank. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just little things like that to stay on top of everything.
I think that's such a good example of what we were chatting about earlier of the communication piece and how you're always really prioritizing that with your clients just so they feel secure and supported and things like that. And I imagine that your clients receiving an email like that this morning was probably like, wow, Erica's so on top of stuff. Like this just happened and she's alerting her clients so we know what to expect next. And that way we know we're protective should that ever happen to us.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a consumer too, so I really just kind of
Mhm.
put myself in their shoes and I'm like, okay, how do I want to be treated? What kind of service do I want and expect? And then I try to provide that.
Definitely. And on the topic of growing your insurance agency, it sounds like you've built a team. So I'm curious to hear how that has come about and how you've been able to transition from originally starting as just you to having people who work with you.
Yes. So it's truly a family business. My husband works with me, my brother-in-law, and then some people that I've known from the industry over the years.
Mhm.
We so it and just like through networking, people were referred to me and said, "Oh, we love Erica. It'd be great if you want to interview with her." So we do have a really great team right now, and we are growing, so that's exciting. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, that's the most that piece and the client piece is so rewarding. Just knowing that I'm giving people a place that they can come work and be themselves and engage and really I don't ever like saying people work for me. They
Mhm.
work with me because everyone is really treated on that same level. We want to hear your ideas, we want to implement them. All of our brains together are stronger than just one. So that's really kind of how we run the team.
Definitely. And I love that you said it's a family business. I think that it sounds like it's been a really good fit of being able to bring in both your husband and your brother-in-law as people that you trust to help grow this, which I think is important.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if you're comfortable with answering this, I'm curious to hear how you manage being in business with family. I know my husband is in business with his dad, so I see how it happens. And I'm curious to hear kind of how you navigate that and if you kind of intentionally put a separation between work and home life.
Mm. Well, my brother-in-law was over on Father's Day, and he did tell everyone that he gets scared sometimes when he sees my call come through. So, no, but honestly, we are just like such great friends, and we just encourage each other and support each other. And at the end of the day, we all want the same goal, have the same goals, and want to win and help the client. So,
Mhm.
um, even though people work in their own on their own sales, on their own book of business, everyone helps each other. Every Tuesday meeting, we have a part where we shout out and say, oh, like thank a team member of something that they helped someone else with. And we call it being a Rudy from the movie Rudy, because he's such a team
Oh, I
player.
love
He
that.
wants everyone to win. But yes, sometimes my husband will tell me to go take a walk, and I do. But yes, we at the end of the day, we just have the same goals, so that is really what we all play off of.
Yeah, I love that. And on
Yeah,
the topic of business growth, I'm assuming that you probably have like a great referral network of other service providers that you can kind of send clients to, and vice versa, providers or service providers that might send clients to you and things like that. And so I'd love to hear more about that if you've built one or just being able to kind of leverage other people's networks ultimately.
definitely. We are fully referral based, meaning we don't buy leads or cold call. So we work very heavily in the real estate sphere. So we do work with lenders, realtors, closing attorneys very heavily, financial planners, lawyers, estate planners, things like that. So we obviously get tons of referral business from them, which we really appreciate. And we do give as much business back if a client asks. Even today, I had a client an underwriter saying they need to trim their trees. I just happen to trim trees at my house. So I'm like, oh, I've used this company multiple times. If you want to reach out, here's their number. So like anytime there's opportunity, we just want to help and we use these people ourselves. So we trust that they're doing such a great job. And then we're happy to just refer to our clients out to them.
I love that. And going back to business owners, making sure that they have the right lines of commercial insurance, I'm curious to hear what mistake do you see business owners make often when it comes to insurance, whether it's doing something they shouldn't do or not doing something they should do?
Hmm. I would say it comes down to the classification of their business. And we're not trying to be sticklers in insurance because we're on the sales side and we want to get you the best rate, affordable, but we also have want to have peace of mind and know that you're actually protected for what you're doing.
Mhm.
Sometimes we notice clients can kind of fudge what they're doing, or maybe they do something other than if I'm a painter, do you? And then someone's doing epoxy flooring. That's kind of two different types of business. And we have to disclose that to underwriting because it could change pricing a little bit and coverage. And we are just saying, we just want you to be protected. So just tell us everything you're doing. That way, God forbid, a claim comes in from that line side of your business. You want to know that you're covered because I don't want you to come back to me and yell at me and say, why aren't I covered for this? So we just like that transparency. And tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you're not going to get in trouble. We just want to know so that we can cover you appropriately. That's all we're
Yeah.
trying to do. Um, and we, on the personal side, we see that a lot with like garaging. Like if someone moves to the city, but they're still using their home address and their parents that live in the suburbs to get better rate. Or like their 16-year-old just got their license and they don't add them until they're 18, as a driver. Things like that. At the end of the day, the carrier can decline coverage, and
Mhm.
nothing would make us feel worse than to call you up and say, this claim is not covered. Like
Yeah.
that, I never want to do that. So we are really open and have those tough conversations. Like, these are the drivers that are covered to drive your car. If there's anyone else, you need to give us a call so we can add them.
Mhm.
Things like that. And we kind of give examples of coverage denial so that they understand what could happen.
Totally. And
Mhm.
those are two good examples that you have. And it reminds me of the idea, and I'm totally going to butcher this, but it's basically like the idea of trying to take a shortcut now and save money now could
Mhm.
potentially cost you so much more money in the long run if you're not doing what you should be doing from the very beginning.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm a consumer too. I want affordable insurance. Let's be serious. Insurance is not a beautiful thing, exciting thing to spend money on. It's not like you're buying a new car, a new TV that's going to bring you joy. You're buying insurance that's not tangible. But at the end of the day, it's going to help you big time when you need it.
Mhm.
It gives you that peace of mind so you can sleep at night knowing that you're covered, even though every time someone's in an accident or a disaster happens, that it's panic first, but then it's a sense of relief that once you talk to your agent or your carrier, you know that you're covered and it's like, oh gosh, I can
Yeah.
breathe. So I just always say don't buy insurance online. Don't try to be too cheap and skim coverages because you're essentially paying for what you get. And if you remove coverages, that's usually what you're going to need in the claim. So you're essentially paying for nothing.
Mhm.
So I always just really recommend people talking to agents and purchasing the right policy for them. And the agent is going to do their job and try to discount it as much as possible and shop it around to find the most affordable rate without skimping down on the coverage part.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. And
Mhm.
so when someone is looking to work with a new insurance agent, I'd love to hear like what makes Optimum different? Like what are the reasons why people should move forward with your agency?
I always tell people that I treat everyone like they're my family or best friends, and who's
Mhm.
better to fight for you than your family. Um, I honestly, we go above and beyond for our clients. We try to take everything off their plate. And I always use the example when I'm shopping at like a Forever 21 back in the day or a Marshall's versus a little bit higher end store. And they come and they take those, your arm's about to break because you have so many clothes on it, and they start the fitting room for you. It's like just that extra touch, you know? And that's how I like to be serviced. I don't like getting a 1-800 number and screaming in the phone until I get a human being on the other line,
Right.
especially when you're in like crisis or something's wrong with your bill and you're like, help me. And no one is, you go around in circles until you get somebody. I'm like, we're so accessible. Like you can text, call. Like I answer things on weekends. If I'm laying in bed late at night, I'll respond to emails. Um, I just think that we're always on for our client, and it's
Mhm.
especially when it comes to insurance, that's peace of mind because usually when somebody needs us, it's in crisis mode or they're very anxious and have anxiety of whatever's happening. Yeah, and I just think that that extra level of love and touch that we give our clients and really go to bat and treat them like family.
I love that. Good answer.
Thanks.
And as we get closer towards the end of this episode, I love to ask our guests what their favorite local businesses are to support. So I'm curious to hear what yours might be.
Okay, amazing. I will start since I'm a new mom of a almost 2-year-old. I love Little Bear Consignment in Hamilton. It is a children's consignment store. So we all know that kids grow out of clothes so quickly and you want to get some money back for them. So that's one of my favorites. I love Savvy Playhouse, which is in Peabody, and it's a playhouse for children. You can have birthdays and functions. I also love in the city, I love R2. It's an Italian restaurant in the North End, which is just delicious. And then I love Honeycomb Bakery in Hamilton. Great coffee, sandwiches, breakfast and lunch. And then on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, they do a fun pop-up called Enchante, which is farm to table eating. And they support local farms and stuff. So it's really great food at great pricing.
Oh, I love that. I love that you kind of covered all the bases with your different answers.
Right? If you can tell, I like to shop and eat.
Not a bad hobby to have.
Right?
Erica, this has been a really great episode, and I've enjoyed having you on the show to share everything you're doing at Optimum. And now I'd love to have you share with our listeners where they can find you online in case they'd like to reach out and basically touch base with you further.
Amazing. Our website is optimum-ins.com. It will have our team and all of our contact information on there. My email directly is erica@optimum-ins.com. And we would love to talk to you. We'd love to help you with any small businesses, large businesses, your personal insurance. Definitely give us a call, or if you need any advice, if you're going out starting a business and you just kind of want to see what type of insurance you would need, we're happy to help you even before you get started, just to give you that projection of what it looks like protecting your new business. Thank you so much, Ashley. This has been so fun. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'll link to all those places in the show notes that our listeners can easily click through and connect with you from there. But thanks again for coming on the show.
Amazing. Thank you.